This thing is scary.
Fear is keeping you from hitting the wall, and you'd like to change that because you'd rather look like this. Then this video is gonna help you. Welcome, my name is Roxy, and we found a special gem here in Austria. It's this beautiful wall ride. And many people think it's scary. Like with every advanced feature, it looks super easy if done by an expert, but actually there are some, well, challenges to this wall ride. We're gonna look at why you may be fearful of these wall rides, how you can, let's say, work with your fear, and how you can hit a wall ride with confidence if you'd like to.
First of all, I will walk you through the feature so you can see over here. It's a straight line coming down the hill. This is the entrance, so you can gain speed. Then you have here the wooden branches are starting. It's not a branch.
Planks.
Planks, let's call them planks. And the gradient is pretty mellow, but soon it's getting steep. And in the apex, it's almost vertical. So first of all, you need speed to ride this feature. And this is, let's call it problem number one of a lot of riders.
Oh, and then Bernie forgot to say, after the almost vertical wall, you need to jump out at the end. So it's not that you can just smoothly ride out, it just finishes. So there's just an end to the wall, and you have some air time, so you need to jump out of the wall.
Is this the perfect wall ride to practice? Definitely not, because it's an advanced feature. You have to jump out, you have to ride it pretty fast, and the exit is, it's really scary because it's not a shaped berm, it's like a sharp edge. So if you want to quit your line through the turn, you have to drop out of it at the bottom, and it's not shaped, it's like an edge, so you're riding against an edge. It's not good to ride. It works, but definitely not the best feature to practice wall rides.
So the first thing I want to talk about is many people come to me and say, hey Roxy, you're a mental trainer, I have this mental block, I have this fear, can we just get rid of the fear because I want to whiz through this wall ride? And of course, yes, there are amazing tools to, let's call it, get rid of your fear, but I, as a skills instructor, always look at the skills first, because there's a huge difference between a mental block and a legitimate fear. The mental block is if you actually have the skills, but your head is still saying, or your brain is still saying, and the legitimate fear is if your head is saying, and you actually don't have the skills. So the chance of hurting yourself is there. It's a legitimate fear. And that's why I always look at which one is it. And mostly, I have to say in my experience, mostly it's not a mental block. Mostly it's a legitimate fear because your subconscious mind is like, I don't have control, I don't have a plan B, or I don't have enough experience to actually hit this line with confidence, and that's why your brain is saying, let's take this slow.
One thing I want to add is your strength, so your physical ability to ride such a thing. Because what happens if you're thinking about a water slide, and if you're going really fast to a water slide, you have the G forces pressing you against the wall, and same while riding this feature on a mountain bike. So if you lack in strength, you will not be able to run through this feature comfortably.
And that's why we ladies, we usually get fearful a little earlier than men, because we don't have as much physical strength. Of course, there are exceptions, but generally speaking, we women do not have as much strength as women. So our subconscious mind will sense, okay, wow, G-forces, wow, a lot of speed. And if I do crash, can I walk out of it safely? No. If there is a question mark, then you may feel fear. And that's why that is also important to acknowledge that yes, women will get fearful earlier than men Generally speaking, as I say, there are exceptions, but it is okay because we are different. We have less speed and less strength, and thus can ride less speed. And often our brain works a little differently, and that's also an evolutionary reason. I have a podcast about this. I'm going to link it below. So how can you work your way up to riding these features safely and confidently? What do you need to ride such a wall ride?
Let me talk you through this wall step by step. Approach in a tall and stable stance, heavy through the feet and light in your hands at a fast speed. Then you should scan ahead to hit the entrance high and lean with the bike into the corner to maintain a 90-degree angle between your tires and the berm, because this will give you the ideal traction. Your vision should scan ahead to the center, then towards the end to maintain a round and smooth line. You should avoid braking. Once you arrive at the end, you want to perform a drop, and in the air, the body will readjust the angle to bring the bike back to match the angle of the landing. So from almost 90 degrees to the ground, you go back to being upright in order to land with your wheels on the ground.
Yes, this is one of the features where speed is your friend is actually true. I'm not a big fan of it because if it's in technical features or if it's very chunky lines, or let's say you're doing jump just with speed and not with technique, it's kind of a recipe for disaster. But there are exceptions, like there are to anything. So speed is your friend in wall rides. So you need to be able to confidently ride at a specific speed to have those G-forces, those centripetal forces to push you against the wall, especially if the wall is very steep. What do you need to ride at a specific speed? First off, you need very solid fundamentals, foundational skills. These are not basics or easy things that everyone has. No, in my experience working with hundreds of riders every year, training dozens of instructors and working even with Olympic riders, I can tell you that fundamentals is something that we can all refine. If you'd like to refine your fundamentals, check this link in the description below, because that is usually the cause why many people are feeling fears and they are not confident at a specific speed, because they have errors in their body positioning or in their braking skills or in their roll down skills. And these are all the fundamentals that I have that you can work with me on in my fundamentals course.
Let me add something. Furthermore, you will gain a kind of body intelligence to adapt a small amount of movement to every situation to have more control over your bicycle, and this is very helpful in features like this.
And also at a high speed, only tiny little nuances of the fundamentals will have huge consequences. So the more advanced you are, the more perfected your fundamentals actually have to be. So this is nothing for beginners. So okay, what do you need to be able to hit a wall with speed? You need a very solid body position, as I said, and you need a lot of experience on berms. Exactly, that's banked corners. You want to start slow, riding at the bottom. Remember what Bernie said about the water slide? When you're riding at a slow speed, you're going to hit the berm at the bottom. When you're riding at a medium speed, you're going to hit it in the middle. And when you're riding at a fast speed, you're going to hit it at the top. And the same applies to the wall. As the wall is vertical, it's almost as though you were hitting a berm at the top all the time. And that's why you need a lot of speed to be able to stick to the wall when you're riding it.
So, and if you work your way up with berms, try to find a similar feature in terms of the height, in terms of the radius. So if you are used to ride dirt berms, very tight ones, it's not the same riding a thing like this, because this radius is huge and the height is impressive.
And also you shouldn't forget, you're coming in from up here, yeah, you hit the berm, and this berm goes 180 degrees in this direction. So you have this compression against the berm. And there we are again with strength. You need to be able to brace against those forces. And if you don't have a strong core, which we women usually don't, or if you are scared and if you stiffen up, it's not going to help you. And that's why you need the competence to gain the confidence. You need to work your way up step by step. And to be honest, most riders I've worked with over the years, they just expect that their fear is going to vanish within weeks of starting to ride and then hitting a feature like this. It needs time, you need experience, you need to develop the soft skills, you need to develop the strength, you need to develop the anticipation, the coordination, and of course also the skills. It's a combination of many things that you need to be able to really automatically perform.
A very common thing used by riders is the pull me through, but this is a dangerous advice, because if we compare the body weight in the entrance here, a heavier body will gain more speed. So for example, if a big guy is pulling Roxy through this berm, he will have more entrance speed than Roxy starting at the same point on the entrance. So this is a tip trap. Don't do it. Decide your speed for yourself, work your way up, and don't follow people blind. They think they can teach you something.
Absolutely. We actually did that once, and I needed to pedal to stick to Berni's speed, and then the speed he was riding at really didn't feel comfortable to me, so I stiffened up. And that's why we stopped doing that. Even with drops, I will always keep my distance, because I need a totally different speed to hit features than he does, because I will be using a different technique for my height, for my body weight, for my strength. And that's why I always work with you personally if you book one of my online courses, because it's important that you find a coach who finds solutions for you, not generic advice. Everyone is different, and everyone needs to take their time to develop skills that work for you individually.
Do we say that pulling someone through is BS? No, definitely not. It's useful in some cases, but it's not the golden rule for everything.
Especially not for men and women if one's like 200 pounds and the other one is like 100 pounds or anything in between. If you're not confident riding the speed, then don't go for steep wall rides yet. Work your way up, allow your body and brain the time it needs to actually develop the competence and then the confidence. 2, if you have the feeling that you want to brake in a wall, don't hit it. You shouldn't brake on wooden features, especially when they're wet. And if your body and brain are telling you you want to brake, then your subconscious mind is telling you you're not ready yet. Listen to it. Your body is the smartest thing you will ever meet in your life. Your body, I'm serious. And then the next tip is your vision. You want to scan ahead, and a lot of people say look straight to the end. That will not work when the berm is very, very large, like here, because when I enter the berm and I'm looking straight till the end, so all the way over here, I would literally have to throw my head into my neck, and it'll probably make me ride down, because when I look to the end over there, I'll probably cut out the middle. And that's why the golden tip is scan ahead from the beginning, then the middle, and then along the end where you want to jump out in this case. And the next point is, before you hit a wall that has an airtime feature in the end, please practice drops. And if you'd like to work with me on all these things, then check the description below, because as I said, I work with you personally with the help of a home training course to give your body and brain the time they really need. Because none of this is something you will just be able to do within one day, especially not if you're an adult learning this. Yes, kids or youngsters with big balls may be able to do it, but we adults, especially women, we think differently, and that's okay. It took me a long time to learn these things too. Please trust me, it takes time. Trust your gut, take your time, work your way up. Let's call it wisely.
I think a lot of people have problem riding such kind of features, because if we take a look at the surface, there are a lot of marks. I think it's from pedals or cranks. So a lot of people slip down this wall rides. So we want to share some information. Definitely we not share all the details of riding such wall rides, but I think it's a good way to start practicing for yourself, and I am happy to see you in the next video.
To wrap it up, 1, practice your body positioning, your braking. 2, work your way up berms step by step. Start at the bottom, in the middle, then at the top. Like the kiddo, he went the middle line, and he did a great job riding down here because he didn't feel confident enough to jump out. So he's working his way up. And then practice drops, and then work your way up to wall rides like this one.
I am sure you will find a better wall ride than we have here. They are usually in bike parks, so keep your eyes wide open and enjoy practicing.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Let us know in the comments. If you have any more questions, also let us know. As Bernie said, we didn't go into all the details on purpose because we don't want you to overthink it. We want you to work your way up gradually and want you to really concentrate on the foundational ideas that make up things. And also, we want you to start accepting fear as something that is healthy and always looking at, is it a mental block? Is it a legitimate fear? How can I work my way up step by step safely? Because that's really what we want to give the world. Mountain biking does not need to be dangerous.
If you want to write a comment below, do it, but stay positive and constructive. Thank you.
Thank you for being here till the end. This video will also be of interest to you. This is my podcast, and give us the thumb and the subscription.
Goodbye.